Welcome back everyone. Today I will show you an action, drama, horror film from 2014, titled Stonehearst Asylum. The story is actually about the asylum in England which was built in 1800. This asylum was vast, old, and unpopulated. It was far from the population. And it snows in winter. Despite this, people come here for treatment. Then we see a doctor from Oxford University also comes to shelter in the cold. His name was Edward. The purpose of his coming to the asylum was to know human mental disorders. He finds this place strange. First, he meets a man named Finn along with his teammates. Finn was tough by nature, had guns. His expressions of dislike for Edward's arrival are revealed. But they let him. Arriving, Edward meets the asylum superintendent, Silas Lamp. The person says, "Haven't received any of your letters, they are welcome and think." Perhaps the letter was not received because of the worst of the weather, but Edward is suspicious. Then Dr. Lampy puts some questions on Edward. He also says that you can go to a shelter near your home to understand mental disorders. That means, you could have gone there easily, why have you gone here which is so far from your home? And it also says that what you will get in this asylum which you did not find in the shelter around you. Edward replies, "I have come here for serious cases of mental disorders in humans." He says, "I will be happy if I learn something before leaving this place." The doctors then agree to Edward's stay and keep him in the same hospital. The same day, the doctor shows Edward some patients who are there for treatment, including a 30-year-old girl. Seeing that girl, she did not think that she was crazy. During this, she is seen playing the piano. Her name was Eliza. She is suffering from disorders like touching her sensitive part, she has become strict. And this disorder was hysteria in which the woman loses consciousness. The case history of this girl's presence here also includes that she had cut off her husband's ear. Because of this, he was brought here. Edward notices the doctor's treatment differently from other doctors. He talks to patients friendly, patients are not restricted so move freely. And the behavior was not as hard as the electric shocks and cold water baths in the other asylums. This asylum was also different from other asylums. Its specialty was that the doctors and patients living here used to have food together. Edward finds it strange but he thinks it could be the newly invented method of doctors. That's why he doesn't think much. Then we see Edward and Finn arguing with each other over dinner. When the doctor notices this fight, he becomes enraged and orders Finn to apologize to Edward. Hearing him, Finn asks for Edward's repentance and offers him a sip. Edward is almost drinking but Eliza forbids him not to drink. Later, she meets Edward separately, saying that she must leave because of his ignorance. Afterward, she says, "You should leave sooner." She also asks to leave the luggage here so that no one suspects her. To this, he replies that "I have come here a while back so can't go." He asks about the reality of this place but she doesn't tell anything. Later, Edward becomes suspicious about the place. His whole night is spent in thought. He feels himself in danger so keeps a pistol for his safety. But he wants to know the events here so cannot go. He hears the sound coming from outside. He goes to check the sounds. Following these sounds, he goes out and comes to the basement. Then he comes down and reaches a place where many people are held captive. His behavior showed that he was mad but not by conversation. They were not mad but residents of the refuge. They were doctors, nurses, and all the staff. Along with it was also the famous Dr. Benjamin Salt. Afterward, he wonders if all the staff are here, who are they who are treating the patients? Truly free people were insane, even doctors. They are victims of mental disorders. They do not consider themselves to be mad but doctors and nurses. But Edward does not believe them but confuses them. Then says Dr. Salt, "We received your letter a week ago." He also tells the history of the refuge, what happened here. It was created by a man named T.H.A. Silas. When the war broke out, it drove him insane. He was treated at the asylum but had a complicated case history. And we didn't know about his mental disorder. He was strange with habits. He started controlling everyone with his madness. Doctors tried various measures to cure him, but none got success. Uncontrolled conditions made his condition worse. He killed 4 doctors among us. We were imprisoned here after this incident. And we were given neither to eat nor to drink. Now Edward could help them. Edward himself was worried about where he was stuck. And he doesn't trust anyone, nor does he want one person except Elijah. He immediately comes to Eliza and tells the whole story, that this place is not good for us. We must run away from here. I will take you with me at any cost. But Elijah says, I will not go with you, as I am also part of the refuge. She says, I told you to run, but you left here and got stuck like us. It seemed Edward would not leave without taking Eliza. And on the other hand, those people needed Edward's help. He had 2 ways: either he could free them or he could bring some help to go out. This work was dangerous because his life was in danger. But he thinks of taking steps wisely. He does everything smartly. He pretends to be himself as he is unaware of the facts and still takes them as a doctor. And no one could doubt him seeing such behavior. The head of those doctors, Silas himself, expected the arrival of a new doctor who would work under him. She took Edward as a fit for herself. At the same time, Edward also helps the prisoner doctors in providing them with food and water. He asks Dr. Salt about Silas' mental disorders. That is, what disease is he getting? Because Edward can solve the problem knowing this. Because it is the root of all circumstances. But all the crazy fake doctors had deleted all the records. And we know the purpose of Edward's coming here. As the film begins, Eliza is shown, the doctors taking her as a subject. There was also a square with Edward's presence. Seeing Eliza, Edward falls in love. So the purpose of Edward's coming here was Eliza. And he comes here to release Elijah. Later, the 2 doctors try to escape but are murdered by Finn when he learns about them. Because he was also a psycho patient, he had already killed many people. And here was the reason for his appearance. Now the fake doctors are feeling insecure because winter is on its end and people will start coming here. And their secret will be revealed. Later, Silas applies electric shock therapy to Dr. Salt and erases his memory. And Edward helps too because he feels that he will be mistreated like the other doctors. He decides to run away in the new year. One night, he drinks everyone's drink. Finn sees Edward doing this, so the 2 fight. While beating Finn, Edward injures him. He tries to give that drink to everyone but fails. Because Silas knows what Edward is going to do to them. Later, Edward also goes under electrotherapy as was done with Dr. Salt. It is a cure to take away Edward's memory that has driven him insane. But Edward was very aware of Silas' strengths and weaknesses. Silas begins electrotherapy on Edward, with Edward expressing his last wish. He says, it is my request to have a look at the photo taken out of my pocket. As the doctor does it, his memory resets his mind back. Because that photo reminds him of many terrible events. These incidents were linked to his madness. Because Silas was once a doctor who looked after all the wounded who went to war. And he was tired of doing so. The more the injured people cried, the more their mind was disturbed. And in this anxious situation, he took many lives. Feeling pain, they cried. There was a young boy among them. After that he never forgave himself. And coming to the asylum, he creates a new fantasy world where he becomes a doctor. And according to him, he is taking care of all the patients who come there. He was doing this with the knowledge that doctors do not treat their patients well. After that, Finn again tries to kill Edward but fails. Moving forward, he is caught in an electric shock and dies. The fire broke out in the electrical circuit in the shelter. Later, Edward brings everyone out of this asylum. In connection, he frees the doctors. He also protects Eliza and needs to take her with him. An astonishing incident happens here. After several days pass, a doctor named Edward enters to pick up Eliza. Seeing him, all the doctors got worried and said, "Are you Dr. Edward?" who was pretending to be Dr. Edward and wanted to help us. Now we find out that Dr. Edward is also insane. He started liking Eliza at first sight and wanted to be with her. And the doctor who was treating him was the real Dr. Edward. He had chosen the identity of his doctor himself. And that's why he was spending the day with those lunatics. Because a madman can understand another madman. But the same madman had come disguised as a doctor. Eliza and Edward start their life happily. Thanks for watching.